improved version of BMW's third generation X3 is a premium mid-sized SUV that's a smarter and more sophisticated choice than the car it replaces, stacking up impressively against prestigiously badged alternatives from Audi, Mercedes, Jaguar and Volvo in this sector. Like its rivals, dynamically targeted almost exclusively towards on-road use, it's another example of just how car-like a model of this kind can be.
You might think that sandwiched between the X1 and the X5, the X3 wouldn't have to spread its talents too broadly, but such is the span of rivals of this size that this improved version of the third generation X3 needs now to cater for quite different customer expectations in the mid-sized luxury SUV segment. Now if those expectations extend towards a dynamic driving experience, then the X3 comes well prepared, with ideal 50-50 weight distribution, a finely honed chassis and standard xDrive intelligent all-wheel drive linked to dynamic stability control. This SUV proudly shows off the handling characteristics for which this Munich maker is renowned. Since its original launch, this third generation X3 has gained quite a lot in terms of powertrain development. First, a petrol plug-in hybrid xDrive 30e model was added to the lineup, and it proved popular with its flexible 252 horsepower, 2-litre, 4-cylinder power plant and 34-mile electric driving range. Then in 2020, the all-electric iX3 arrived, rear-driven with a 286 HP electric motor powered by an 80 kilowatt-hour battery, giving a 285-mile driving range. Both those variants benefit from this package of updates, and as part of the facelift, the mainstream combustion models have also become electrified, although not quite as much. All the usual petrol and diesel engines available have now gained the Munich maker's latest 48-volt mild hybrid tech. This draws on a powerful 48-volt starter generator and an additional battery, both offering more possibilities for brake energy regeneration. The energy that's harvested by the system when it's braking or cruising is stored in a 48-volt battery, and it can be used to generate drive power. What's more, the 48-volt starter generator can also create an electric boost of 11 horsepower during hard acceleration, which is particularly helpful for overtaking. Apart from this embellishment though, the mainstream engine menu has a familiar look to it. Most buyers will continue to choose a diesel, probably the 190 horsepower 2-litre xDrive 20D variant, but there's also a 286 horsepower straight-six xDrive 30D diesel derivative. BMW thinks that petrol power will get more of a take-up going forward, so they're offering an entry-level xDrive 20i version with 184 horsepower, plus there are two straight-six 3-litre M Performance models, the 360 HP X3 M40i petrol variant, which most directly takes on the Mercedes-AMG GLC 43. And the 340 horsepower M40D diesel version of the same car, which is what we're trying here, which targets Audi's SQ5. Those two derivatives are no longer topping out the range because, as part of the model update, the Bavarians have now also added an even faster X3M competition 6-cylinder petrol high-performance model to the lineup. Now that has 510 horsepower on tap. The look of this third generation X3 has, in this updated form, become cleaner and smarter. Nothing dramatic's been done to the familiar shape. It was originally penned by Australian designer Calvin Luk, but the facelift has tidied up some fussy detailing and it's given the car a slightly more premium look. In profile, the proportions will be familiar to previous X3 buyers, with this long bonnet and the short front overhang, emphasising this BMW's classic 50-50 weight distribution between front and rear axles. It's up front where you'll find most of the facelift package changes, most notably the larger front kidney grille, which now has a single-piece frame with the two elements separated by this little central black bar into which BMW's iCam camera can be fitted. This appendage is flanked by headlights, which have gained standard adaptive LED beams, and there's a revised front bumper with vertical air inlets too. There's also a restyled lower apron, which gets a sportier look with the M Sport and M models, and it features larger air inlets and inserts finished in high gloss black, as well as more pronounced air curtains. At the back, the look's got a little sharper and bolder. A black border encircles the restyled full LED rear lamps, which have narrower light graphics, which now include a three-dimensional contour and integrated horizontal turn signals. There's also restyled underbody protection and larger flush-fitting tailpipe trims. Time to take a look inside. Now, cabin access is possible via your smartphone if you specified the digital key option and you have the right kind of handset. Take a seat at the wheel and it feels as if this updated X3 has gone up half a class. Gone are the analogue instrument dials and the rather restricted infotainment screen size of the original Mark III model, and the sports seats have been enhanced with classier leather upholstery, which will be either of the man-made Sensitech sort or of the real Vanaska kind, depending on the trim level you've selected. You might notice a few little detail changes too, like the move of the start button to a place down here by the gear stick. Evidently that is a mark of premiumness. As before, you're seated in the pleasingly commanding position you'll want if you've switched into an X Series model from either a 3 Series or a 5 Series. Now, we mentioned the close relationship this third generation model has with BMW's 5 Series. Well, inside you really feel that. Perhaps most notably with the use this X3 now makes of the cutting-edge media connectivity systems from that car. The live cockpit professional twin screen setup isn't quite as cutting edge as the operating system 8 curved screen arrangement that you now get in the latest X1, but it still feels suitably high end with wondrous graphics and thoughtful functionality. Time to take a seat in the back. A 6-footer will be able to sit comfortably behind a driver of similar size, which is about as much as you can ask of a mid-sized SUV of this sort. Let's take a look out back. Once the powered hatch rises, you're provided with 550 litres of capacity in the standard mild hybrid models. Need more room? Then it's obviously a case of pushing forward the rear bench. Folding flat, the whole bench frees up 1,600 litres of cargo area. The key improvement with this revised X3 has been the extension across the range of this Bavarian brand's latest 48-volt mild hybrid technology. As a result of all that, here are the WLTP rated stats, which will get the approval of your accountant or perhaps of your company fleet manager. The best possible figures are quoted based on models with the smallest available wheel sizes. Bigger rims will obviously rather impact these stats. The base petrol xDrive 20i manages up to 37.2 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 173 grams per kilometre of CO2. For the alternative xDrive 20D diesel, the stats are up to 47.9 mpg and 154 grams per kilometre, or up to 44.8 mpg and 216 grams per kilometre for the xDrive 30D. If you want to better that, then you'll need the xDrive 30e petrol plug-in hybrid. Now that manages up to 134.5 miles per gallon with an EV range of up to 30 miles. Charging from a 16 amp source takes 2.6 hours from 0 to 80%. If you want to go all out with electrification though, you'll need the iX3 EV. This has an 80 kilowatt hour battery offering a 285 mile range. For charging an iX3, there are a number of options, including 150 kilowatt DC rapid charging for an 80% charge in 34 minutes, AC single phase and onboard 3-phase charging at 11 kilowatts is standard fit. That only leaves the performance models. Now we'll start with the most sensible of those, the M40D diesel that we're driving here, which manages up to 40.9 miles per gallon on the combined cycle and up to 181 grams per kilometre of CO2. The alternative M40i petrol version, or the readings there are up to 31 miles per gallon and up to 206 grams per kilometre. And for the top X3M competition, well, you're looking there at up to 26.2 miles per gallon and up to 241 grams per kilometre. In summary, we think that buyers in this sector who can afford the asking price should find that this improved X3 adds up very nicely indeed. A vehicle this good ought to speak for itself. Try one, and we think you'll find that it does.